Welcome to the Financially Free Journey podcast, and I am your host, Courtney Dyer. Thanks again for tuning in, guys. This podcast aims to dispel the seemingly complex topic of personal finance, debt management, savings, investing, and of course, retirement. And my goal is for you to be able to walk away from each episode feeling confident and a little bit more knowledgeable than you were before you listened. And previously, we have covered a variety of topics so far. I mean, we've talked about budgeting basics, saving for retirement, and now I want to talk about a very controversial topic, the topic of should you pay off your debt or invest your money? So often, people wonder whether they should pay off a loan or invest that money that they've got. Typically, you've heard of a big talk show personality host saying to pay off all debt. It's bad. The room is on fire. And on the other hand, you've also probably heard that, well, if you can make more money in the stock market and through investing or get a better match from your employer, it's like throwing away free money. And depending on the person you talk to, the answers you're going to get they're going to vary. And that's not very helpful when you're trying to research what is going to work best for you. But ultimately, only you know which option is best for you. But today, I am going to lay out some information and, some steps that may make it easier for you to make a plan and stick to it. Now, both options are admirable and completely necessary. There is, of course, the math to consider in this equation, but this decision is not just as black and white as it seems to be with the math that supports it. Paying off debt helps reduce stress, lowering your overall risk to changes in our economy, and helping you withstand financial emergencies that will arise throughout your life. And of course, on the flip side, investing means you're building a reserve tank of funds that can protect you and your family and essentially provide income and cash flow for you. Maybe the most important factor here is that you're accumulating enough money to retire when and how you want. So, what should you do? Both of those options sound pretty good, don't they? I want you to first compare these two questions to your particular financial situation. Number one, what is the rate of after-tax interest you are paying on your debt? Number two, what is the after-tax rate of return you expect to earn on your investment? Now, the rate of return that you receive when you're paying off debt, it's fixed and it's guaranteed. If you're paying off a credit card with an 18% interest rate, once you pay off that balance, you immediately get an 18% return on your money. It's fixed, it's guaranteed. With investing, however, your return isn't guaranteed, but the upside potential is uncapped, like it is with paying off your debt. So in other words, if you theoretically can earn a higher return on your investments than the interest on your debt, you should theoretically invest. If this is not the case, then you may want to pay off your debt. But a great example of this is a famous billionaire we may all know who is an amazing investor, Mr. Warren Buffett. Buffett purposely carried a loan on his home up until recent years because he knew that he would make more money if he just invested the funds instead of paying the mortgage off on that house. And this comes down to really understanding what is good debt and what is bad debt. A fancy term for this is knowing your risk-adjusted rate of return on each debt. And just to put that simply, you need to understand how much risk is associated with each of your debts. Because the answer to paying off your debt versus investing, it's more than just the math, and it has to be risk-adjusted. Many leading professionals that are financial planners in the industry, they're going to recommend more of a hybrid approach to this question. Here is a hierarchy that I personally have found to be the most beneficial. This is by no means a set standard or a direct recommendation for you. And I really do want you to meet with a financial advisor. And if you don't have one, get one. Review these steps with them and see if it makes sense for you and your personal financial situation. So I'm going to go through 7 steps that I have found to be personally successful. Number 1, fund any qualified retirement account that you have available to you up to the match rate of your employer. This would include an employer-sponsored account like a 401k or a 403b, but most companies that offer one of these plans, they have a matching benefit of 100% up to the first 3 to 6% of your salary that you contribute. So let me give you an example to make this simple. Let's say you work for company ABC and your base salary is $100,000, just for easy math. ABC has a match of 3%. This means that the first $3,000 that you contribute to your 401k, your employer is also going to contribute $3,000 to your 401k for a total of $6,000 in contributions to your personal retirement account. So not only do you get the extra $3,000 from your employer, but you've also lowered your overall taxable income from $100,000 to $97,000 in this example. So step 2, after you have contributed to your 401k, work on building up an emergency fund to a comfortable 3 to 6 months of living expenses. This emergency fund should always, guys, stay in a highly liquid account, a checking, savings, or some type of money market account. No, you will not get the highest rates of return on this money, but this money is not meant for that. At the very least, have 3 months of living expenses saved and readily available. You never know what curveball life is going to throw at you, and you need to be ready. The last thing you need when you get unexpectedly laid off is to not know, how you're going to pay your electricity bill and put food on the table for your family. Get this statistic. According to the Bureau of Labor, someone who is currently unemployed needs on average a little over 3 months to find a new job. These are statistics, guys, in a good economy with low unemployment rates. If you look back to years right after the recession, around 2010, the average unemployed person took over 25 weeks to find a job. That's almost half a year. And that didn't specify a job of equal pay. It was just to find a job. So ask yourself this. What would you do today? What would happen to you right now if you no longer received your paycheck? I hope that puts the importance of step 2 into perspective for you. Now, step 3. Now you've contributed to your employer-sponsored retirement account and you have a comfortable emergency savings. I hope I scared you enough with the importance of step 2. Now it's time to kick it into high gear and pay off your, high interest debts, aka your bad debts. So this includes debt like credit cards, student loan debts that are variable, lines of credit, personal loans, payday loans, car title loans. You get the picture, right? If this step applies to you, make sure that you go back and listen to episode 3. That episode is titled, Which Budgeting Method is Right for You? This is going to help you get a little bit of clarity around how you should specifically align your debts and prioritize those debts when it comes to paying them off. A big factor here is, of course, the math involved, but also the emotional impact the debt has on you. So make sure that you take a holistic approach to your debt and map it out, taking all factors into account. This step is critical, guys, and takes serious laser focus and dedication. Sadly, most people make progress on paying off debts, but then they continue to accumulate debt at the same time, which creates a vicious cycle that is really hard to get out of. Create a debt payment plan and a budget that fits so you can stick to it and be successful. Now, step 4, okay, you have hit a huge milestone. Just take a second, pat yourself on the back. Accomplishing step 3 is huge. You've paid off your debts. It's like you had 50-pound weights on each of your shoulders and they were just wearing you down and stressing you out. Now, what do you do now that those weights have been lifted? You've just been freed up with a lot of cash flow that you've used each month to pay off your debts. Use this newfound cash flow not to go out and purchase new shiny things and to have what's called lifestyle inflation. Use this cash flow to circle back to the retirement account in step 1 and max out your contributions. Make sure you look up the current tax regulations that apply to you on what that limit is. In 2019, the maximum amount you could contribute to a 401k is $19,000. So, you got to take that into consideration. There is also a kicker. If you're 50 or older, that limit increases to $24,000 for makeup contributions. There are multiple factors in this step that are beneficial to you. First and foremost, you are lowering your overall taxable income by the amount that you contribute to your qualified retirement account. That means your tax bill is reduced, less money to Uncle Sam and more money for you. Secondly, you're going to be saving and investing for your future and creating security. Last but not least, you're going to see that amount compound over time, in addition to market gains you receive on your portfolio. And I don't know about you, but I would much rather save my money for retirement and have it later instead of paying it in taxes each year to Uncle Sam. Step 5, if 15% of your income exceeds the maximum contribution to your qualified retirement accounts, you need to invest the difference. Begin building wealth by, opening up a fully taxable brokerage accounts, dividend investment accounts, mutual funds, or buying cash generating assets. A great example of this is purchasing real estate where you could receive rent or passive income from your investment on the property. And you may be like me, you may like that idea of collecting passive income from real estate, but you're scared to death of being a landlord. If that's the case for you, an alternative option is to look at maybe a real estate investment trust. Again, this is a step for you to sit down with a financial advisor and to look at your specific risk and time horizon and come up with a game plan that makes the most sense for you. Now, part 6. This is part 1 of step 6. Now, a lot of you listening may have financial events that you have to plan for in the future outside of your own retirement, like maybe college tuition or paying for weddings for your children. After you have put out the proverbial financial fire by paying off your bad debts, putting money away for your retirement, now you can start to look at how much you can afford to set aside for these events. And I want to make this clear. Paying for your child's college tuition is nice, but it is not necessary. Being able to afford to buy groceries when you're 70 is nice and necessary. Only after you have maxed out your qualified retirement plans and saved 15% of your income can you look at this step. If this is a step you are able to look at doing, congratulations. A few options to consider when speaking with your financial advisor is maybe funding a 529 plan for your kid or purchasing zero coupon bonds. Again, there are tons of ways that you can do this that is beneficial for you with tax advantages, that have great gain opportunities, but you need a professional to look at your specific finances and to give you the best suited solution. Now, part 2 of step 6. Let's say part 1 doesn't apply to you. You don't have kids, or that's not maybe something you want to pursue doing. Then let's bring it all home by paying off your home early. Did you catch on that play on words? This step is the holy grail, and it is highly coveted by a lot of people. Your mortgage is the only thing standing between you and what's considered true financial freedom. Take a second to imagine, what would life be like if you didn't have a monthly mortgage payment? If you've maxed out your retirement saving contributions and you've saved the difference of up to 15% of your annual income into some type of investment account and you still have money left over, this step may be the choice for you. If you do approach this step, it may be wise to go chat with a mortgage professional as well and look at your current rate and term options and refinance your property to potentially save you tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. You would be surprised the amount of interest you pay over the life of a typical mortgage loan. So that is critical for you to do if you are serious about paying your mortgage off early. Okay, guys, these steps do several things for you. First of all, they minimize your tax bill each year, which means that you have more money in your pocket. You also create bankruptcy protection for your retirement assets. Not a lot of people know this, but your employer-sponsored retirement accounts, they have unlimited bankruptcy protection under the current rules. Another thing is you reduce your debts over time and the total amount of interest that you would pay out versus only making your minimum payments. So not only do you reduce the interest expense, but you also increase your monthly cash flow significantly once the debts are paid off. Wait and see how good it feels to get those 50-pound weights off your shoulders. Again, guys, thank you so much for tuning into the show. And if you're not already, make sure that you follow us on Instagram. It's at Financially Free Journey, and Twitter at Financially J. My personal Instagram account is at Courtney Dyer 88. I would love to have you join the community and to follow for that daily motivation and tips to help you achieve your financial dreams. Until next time.